Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Savvy Report. I'm Ernie Martin, founder and CEO of Receivable Savvy, where we provide research and best practice to help master the order-to-cash process. Today, we're speaking with Nick Chandi, CEO and co-founder of ForwardAI, a firm committed to improving access to aggregated financial accounting and business data for banks, lenders, and fintechs. So, Nick, good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Arlene. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Our pleasure, my pleasure. And what we'll cover today is how companies can leverage financial data to help them gain organizational insight, secure funding, and grow their business. So, Nick, let's jump right in. And thank you again for joining us. And if you could, mention briefly what ForwardAI does, and then also tell us a little more about yourself, your company, how and why you founded it.
Sure. Yeah, we are a technology company and we plug into all the major accounting systems that are being used in the US market, like QuickBooks Online, Xero, FreshBooks, or Oracle, NetSuite, Microsoft Dynamics 365. We can pull data from these accounting systems. We can push data back in. So it's a bi-directional data flow. And we currently support 17 major accounting systems that I call the main operating system of a business, because so many businesses, especially the smaller one, they just live in these accounting systems.
Right.
We also provide cash flow forecasting that's based on the accounting data, and that solution is available both as an API as well as a white label platform that we can offer to our partners who might be bank, lenders, or any fintech companies. And how I got started, I have been working with the accountants and accounting firms, bookkeepers for almost 20 years now. Mm-hmm. We built one of the largest IT consulting company in Canada that we sold in 2019, around 2-3 years ago. Okay. And during that time, we built custom software integrations for these accountants, provided them IT support, or simply advised them sometime on what app to use for their business, or right, what apps are really popular among the small business community. So those kind of advisory services we were providing on the technology side. So right, we sold that business, and then this pandemic hit, and during that time I got an opportunity to work with hundreds of small businesses, helping them with PPP loans. Right. But there were some businesses, they needed more help than the PPP could offer. And I found that banks were not really in a good position to help those kind of customers, because they were still making their decisions based on those outdated financial statements, or the process was taking very long. Look at this situation, if I am a plumber or a contractor and I need to take on a job, right, and I need that 50K or 70K in my bank account today, mm-hmm, so that I can buy the raw material, buy the inventory, and finish the job and bill that client for 80K or 100K, and I make that 20K there, right? So yep, that's the way economy works. But if I don't have that 50K sitting in my bank account, I won't be able to take on the job.
Right.
And what are my options? I could apply for a loan or quick funding with my bank. But if banks are taking 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months, that doesn't help me. Yep. I need the money today, not tomorrow. And I saw that time that only companies that were helping these small businesses were alternative lenders or fintechs who had access to the real-time financial data, real-time accounting data that's coming from their platforms.
Right.
So we founded ForwardAI to solve this problem. We want to make it easy for our partner bank or lenders to very easy to request access to the accounting data right inside the main customer journey, and make it easier for businesses to share their data too, so that they can get quick access to the funding that they need. Or there are some other solutions the bank can offer to these small business client too. So we built that kind of infrastructure to connect banks or lenders with these small and mid-sized companies.
Right. And so thank you for walking us through that. And that's an issue that a lot of supplier organizations face, especially when they've got either an order from a customer and they need to go into production, but don't have, as you mentioned, 50K in the bank.
That's right.
Or if they're trying to grow via adding a different department, launching a marketing campaign, or other things. And so, what do you find supplier organizations doing in lieu of that? Are they, in terms of what is their struggle? What does that struggle look like?
So right now, the only way that we have seen is anytime, you need any kind of accounts receivable financing, or even a short-term or long-term funding from any bank or lender, you will apply for a loan, you will submit a PDF or pile of PDF documents to them, right? And then they look at that and they take days and weeks to get back to you. That's the way they are doing. So, but in our case, any time a business owner agree to share their data with the bank, by the way, the way process works is bank can request access to the accounting data right inside the main customer journey when I am being onboarded for a loan or any other kind of financial services with the lender.
Right.
And if I agree to share with my accounting data, and the way it works is it'll prompt me for my, let's say, QuickBooks login ID and password, and I consent to share my data with the bank.
Right.
I get in return a faster decision, even if that means saying no.
Right.
And but there's an opportunity for bank to keep my data, keep the connection, or it also works for me as well, because if I agree to share data with the bank on ongoing basis, like if my business is growing, I may not qualify today, but I might be able to qualify after 3 months or 6 months.
Right.
We know only, a lot of banks, they don't like to fund any, when you're new. It's a 6-month business. They don't want that. They want that predictable revenue stream. But maybe after 6 months or 1 year, they can see that Nick is spending a lot on the Facebook and he's acquiring new customers and his business is growing up and he's hiring a bunch of employees. Then they can definitely come back to me with some kind of financing offer, just because they have been there is an opportunity for the bank or lender to proactively monitor the financial health of my business. Today, they don't have it. Today, it's a very passive process. It's not proactive. But the process I shared with you, that's very proactive, where bank can take, or bank staff can take, or the internal departments, they can develop some kind of solution to that could be based on the real-time accounting data.
So you mentioned data, and data is everywhere, right? And so the challenge is, wrapping your arms around that data and leveraging it. And so how can business owners best leverage that financial data for forecasting? Is there a forecasting mechanism specifically used in ForwardAI?
Sure. You raised a really good point. The data is everywhere, especially for these small businesses.
Right.
They have, if you look at them, they use, they have data sitting in this accounting system. They might be using a commerce platform like Shopify. They might have CRM, or they have some advertising that's happening on Google AdWords, or those kind of platforms. So their data is coming from all different kind of systems, and And a business owner, whether you're a $500,000 or $20 million business, you have the same problem. You want to know what's the overall financial health of my business, how much money I have in the bank account, whether my customers have been paying me on time or no.
Right.
So currently, what you can do, you can fetch the data or enter the data manually and enter in an Excel sheet. Yeah, you can create a forecasting for sure.
Yeah.
But how accurate that would be, it's everyone's guess. It's time consuming. It takes time,
Yep.
and it's error prone, and it's pretty manual process. But we provide a solution where cash flow forecasting is based on the real-time data that is being fetched from the accounting systems.
Yep.
And we have very advanced machine learning and AI models that predict how the cash position is going to look like tomorrow, next week, or in a month, or 3 months, 6 months. So they can see how the cash is going to look like. And our forecasting is based on the transactional data. So it means we look at, not only on your invoices due date, but we look at when those payments are being made. So we track those kind of things, and it's almost impossible to do those kind of things in an Excel sheet. What we have seen in the case of Excel sheet, Orny, is you might have either you as a business owner, or you are doing it, or you might have an outsourced CFO or CPA doing it for you. Right. They have built this kind of complex convoluted logic, that's been working for months or years, and that's how they do it.
Right.
Sometimes I have seen, they have a fancy macro, and they'll just love it. And anytime you just make a minor change, it's very difficult to make those kind of changes. Right. But when they're using modern technology, like our platform, it's very interactive, and where they can create a different kind of scenarios. Scenario might be, I win a new deal that's going to pay me $50K every month, and what would be the impact on my cash flow?
Right.
Because this data is not in the QuickBooks or Zero yet. It's still sitting in the mind of those business owners who just completed the deal, right? So they can enter those kind of data in the scenario planning, and can I afford to hire two new employees because I have additional $50K coming in. So they can do those kind of things. They can see the impact of their decisions before they even make those kind of decisions. So that's the kind of powerful tool we have. And other thing, this is all coming through our platform or API, but we also offer a platform with that for our partners, for lenders or banks or fintechs, where they can share a subset of the same data in the form of a cash flow forecasting or cash flow management tool, and where their clients can see all this kind of who are my good customer, bad customer, how my cash flows looks like, those kind of things they can do too.
So Nick, we talked about data and organizations leveraging data. So my initial thinking is, when you're using QuickBooks and Xero and Sage and some other solutions, there's already data that sits there, and there's data that the users or the organizations that use those solutions can leverage. But simply by using those solutions, there's data that exists. So what is it that ForwardAI does in addition to what QuickBooks and Xero does that provides that added benefit that allows companies to leverage even more data?
That's a great question, Arnie. QuickBooks and Xero and some other accounting platform that we support, yes, they do provide some kind of basic insight or analysis and cash flow forecasting as well. But that's very much, I would say, on the basic level, and it's not interactive and like the way we provide for small or mid-sized companies. And like our scenario planning tool is very expandable, and it's very useful, and it can be customized to match versatile or different situations that businesses face on day-to-day basis. And those kind of tools are not available in all the major accounting systems. Like I shared, we support 17 of them. Not all of them, they provide kind of forecasting or insights that are available through our technology. When we take raw data from these accounting systems, we create a lot of drive data, ready-to-use data that could be quickly used in any kind of decision making. Or let's say a fintech want to use it to create a beautiful looking dashboards, or they want to build some kind of reconciliation functionality that's tied to their platform. Those kind of things they can do. And other thing in challenge the most actual users or stakeholders who are really interested in this kind of data, like lenders. They want access to the real-time data. And currently, in case they want data from their clients, they have to build integrations with all different 17 accounting systems. And building integrations is a very, very slow process. And because I don't know if I'm a lender, I don't know if my customers are using QuickBooks or Oracle NetSuite. I don't know that one. Right. So I need to support all major accounting systems. And the best way to do is engage a company like us that work as a kind of middle layer, where we are going to fetch data from all those different accounting systems, and we're going to deliver it a kind of single or standard API to the lenders so that they can make those kind of smart decisions that are going to help the small business community. That's where we create value. And like I shared, we created a lot of drive data too. We take the raw data and we massage it, and we create or present it in a forum that says ready to consume. Like a lot of lenders, they want to look at your accounts receivable in different forum. They want to see a status as of today, or maybe as of last month by a specific date. They can do these kind of things with when the data is being delivered through an API through us.
Is your customer base primarily North American? Are you working with companies, organizations outside of North America, or is it primarily North America?
Because our technology is global, and we have seen that accounting systems, they are being used, like QuickBooks are being used in US, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and other markets too. So currently we are supporting all English-speaking countries, but our customers are currently from USA, UK, and Australia and New Zealand market. So that's where we see a lot of interest in the real-time data, and that's where we got our early customers.
Excellent. Well, there's a lot of good stuff happening at ForwardAI, and I'm sure there are a lot of happy customers being able to leverage their data and get faster decisions from banks, and also leverage it for other purposes, forecasting, etc. And so, Nick, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the Savvy Report. You walked us through why financial data is critically important to gather and leverage for businesses, banks, and fintechs. And you can find more information about ForwardAI and how they help businesses and financial solution providers capture and properly leverage financial data at www.forwardai.com. And so, thank you very much for joining me and my guest, Nick Chandi of ForwardAI, on this episode of the Savvy Report. So, Nick, thank you again.
Thank you, Ernie, for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. And I'm Ernie Martin, and we'll see you next time.